Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game, and today a re-review of Wave 2's U.S.S. Excelsior. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Excelsior. I never liked the long neck, the ship design of the Excelsior class. It just didn't do anything for me. But in attack wing, how does the Excelsior hold up? Well, one, it's the U.S.S. Excelsior class. You can run the starship construction, the prototype on it. So that's at least something to consider. That's an option here. So get yourself a little more defense. But here, named ship. After you move, if no enemy ships are within range 1 of your ship, you may perform a scan action as a free action. This I think can work. It's really tough to build around. Excelsior's dial is not friendly. There's a reason I ran away from the Excelsior class as fast as I could in Alliance. Well, not quite as fast as I could, but I love the 180 arc. I hate all my turns being red. It's just basically anything that's going to be anything to help me out is hurtful. And prevents actions, and then doesn't jive with Excelsior's named ability. Because it doesn't say place a scan token, it says free action scan token. It's range 1 is also deceptively bigger than it seems, especially when you're trying to get away from people. So Excelsior struggles. My kind of recommendation is to use Excelsior as a torpedo boat, put on photon torpedoes, time token photon torpedoes from Alliance, and use your free scan token and just kind of fly back, stay back, and use that to the best ability that you can. But yeah, a generic Excelsior, well, we see that used in Alliance plenty. So if you're playing Alliance, you have experience with Excelsiors and thoughts about Excelsiors, whether or not you're flying them. You've seen them, and you either like them or don't. And nothing I say is going to convince you otherwise. Captain Hikaru Sulu, skill 6, 4 points, talent slot, the 641, as we might say. Lots of these around. Action disable one of your crew upgrades to remove an opponent's target lock token from beside your ship. Remove the corresponding token from beside the opponent's ship as well. So, yeah, you have to ask yourself, how important is not being target locked? And to me, it's not that big of a deal. Target lock, sure, it can play a role, but it's becoming less and less important. There are more ways to have passive conversions. There's wharf, there's ship abilities, there's just a lot going on that doesn't play a facet in needing a target lock. So Sulu, never going to be a first choice. Maybe somebody I reach for if a scenario explicitly is calling out these ships are target locking you, an AI. If I know I'm going up against, say, a ton of Alliance Galler class ships, and I know they're going to be target locking me, maybe Sulu sees play. Even then, this is using my action to be defensive, and I have to disable a crew too. I guess I can run Julian Bashir and re-enable that crew. It's this weird trade-off, and I'm not the biggest fan of Sulu. Captain Styles, 3 skill 2 points. Add 1 additional tech icon to your ship's upgrade bar. He's okay, but I would rather run Tuvok, who is skill 4, 3 points, and gives me a discount on the tech and basically comes out in the wash. Basically what I'm saying is they did Styles dirty. And yes, I know he's the captain of Excelsior in Star Trek. I'm going to do this wrong. 3, when we go after Spock. And he's a cocky SOB, but still, he deserved better than the treatment he got in Attack Wing. Feint as a talent, discard this upgraded target a ship at range 2 to 3. If you attack that ship this round, it rolls 2 less defense dice. I can actually see running this. It's going to be very mission specific. It's going to be needing to focus fire on one ship and use this to try to soften it up with my ship, knowing I'm attacking it first and then letting other ships come in after the fact. Maybe it's targeting a cloaked ship and using this to knock it down. But I can actually see running Feint. It's going to be missions, though. Early game torpedoes are bad. I called them kindling once, and I will continue to stand by that. Transwarp drive. During the activation phase, if your maneuver dial reveals a 4 or 5 straight, you may instead use a 6 straight. I find this playable. I find it intriguing. I would love a card like this in Alliance. Sadly, we're not going to get this. I like Transwarp Drive a lot in missions, especially trying to escape from a map. Yeah, I like this card. I think it does see some play. It's not hyper competitive play. That's not the point of it. Going in a straight line is fairly predictable, and changing from a 4 to a 6 straight or a 5 to a 6 straight, not the biggest deal in the world. It has something, but it's not going to win you the game, and it's certainly not worth the 3 points. But in a mission, you find a way to use this when you need it. Positron Beam. During the planning phase, you may discard this upgrade to target a ship at range 1 and give that ship an Aux Power token. I like the effect for 2 points. You're going to limit somebody. You're going to make them go, well, I can't do that red maneuver. Very useful against Klingon ships wanting to do come-abouts. Very useful against Federation ships that might want to do full astern backup moves. But, yeah, limited on range, has its drawbacks, has its considerations that you just have to plan for. What is fun is to run Brunt on a ship that's Mirror Brunt and Positron Beam. Give a ship 2 Aux Power tokens, one in the end phase, one in the planning phase of the next round, and you are guaranteeing that they are not getting an action. That's a lot of points for one little effect, but I do think it's worth something. Dimitri Valtain. If your ship has a scan token beside it when you attack, you may re-roll up to 2 of your attack dice. Valtain works nicely on Excelsior. Nice little passive semi-target lock. I could see running Valtain on Excelsior with Wing Leader on another ship, and that gives you 2 rerolls of blanks plus a battle station reroll, and that's a nice little 1-2 punch, getting you some passive rerolls and a scan token as well, to make your attack go a little further. So I like that. Janice Rand. Well, let's just read her. After your ship moves, discard Rand to allow your captain to perform the action on one of his elite talent upgrades as a free action this round. This is one of the most unique cards in the game. I consider Janice Rand a combo enabler. You need something to happen. You don't have the action for it. And Rand is going to be the card that makes it happen. I think Janice Rand is one of the most overlooked cards in the game. I think that if you really need to make that bonus action happen, Rand is your card to do it. She takes up a crew slot, which I know are valuable, but I do think she can see play. I don't know that she's necessary, and there's many a build that she is definitely not necessary in, but I do think she has potential. And lastly, we have Lozier. And Lozier is a 2-point crew. When your ship fires a weapon upgrade that requires you to disable it, you may disable Lozier instead of that weapon. And I think that with Julian Bashir coming in, Lozier plus Bashir is a great way to use any disable weapon every single turn. I like Lozier the best with additional phaser array. I'm almost certain that's a almost certain that's a weapon upgrade. I probably should have typed more words than additional. I definitely should have typed more words than additional. Oh well, we're this far into it. Additional phaser arrays. Yeah. After you make an attack with your primary weapon, you may disable this card to make an additional attack with your primary weapon and -2 dice. That is, that's a really good use for Lozier. Now, I don't think Lozier is exclusive to that, but I think Lozier sees play there. Lozier could also be good with the new Quantums. Not the old ones. I mean, maybe the old ones, but the new ones. Yep. New Quantums are spend your target lock, disable the card. So Lozier definitely useful there as well. So yeah, Lozier, a card to consider, especially with your disable weapons. And that gives you 2 shots of them without having to re-enable Lozier, even if you don't want to play the Julian Bashir combo with Lozier. And then you can worry about re-enabling from there. But I think Lozier is at least somebody you gotta take a look at these days. So Excelsior, I think you're buying it for Lozier. Cool option. Janice Rand, again, cool option. Valtane, kind of a poor man's Mr. Spock, but I think that he's worth the discount. Transwarp Beam or Transwarp Drive, Positron Beam, also cool tech, cool options of tech, good mission specific cards. Faint, interesting talent. Captains don't do much for me. Named ship, it's a named ship. I think it's got playability. It's not amazing, but I think there's something to it. So, anyway, all that being said, I do think Excelsior is worth trying to track down. I haven't checked the eBay prices of late, but I would try to track down these cards. I do think they're worth something. I think they're interesting. I don't think any of them are hyper necessary. So you might be able to find somebody who's got a duplicate set and they go, oh yeah, sure. I'll give you those cards. Again, I don't speak for anybody other than myself, but I like the cards here. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Until next time, keep brushing up your game. Take care.